some very distinct things to talk about. I am pretty much done ever talking again about Katie Joy, at least until she does something super dumb, probably. I want to be done with her. I want to give her a distinct warning, not just for her, but for others. All of us could hear this message. Hey Sandy, hey Danielle, and hey Christoph, and I know that you are watching, listening. Fernando, everybody else. Let me introduce myself. I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I wrote for Pathos for nearly 10 years. I knew Katie Joy in real life because I worked with her in Pathos. She worked there less than a year. I wrote a column called No Longer Quivering about religion and about fundamentalist religion, fundagelicalism, and quiverful. Do the YouTube things, hit like, subscribe, click the bell notification. These are just my opinions. This is not a threat. Don't bully anybody. I'm taking a needed coffee break. So here, oh, hey T King, hey Allie, hey Fernando. It has been quite the morning for me here. We are talking about her most definitely. Last night, you may have noticed Renelle Smith did an almost 3-hour live stream. Renelle was extremely upset because the one we're not supposed to name accused her of going real life, telling her followers to go real life. No such thing has ever happened. Fernando, you might know where I'm coming from. Oh, thank you. The only thing that's made up is I have a little powder and a lipstick. Hey, Flying Monk, Karma Kid. Jedi Lady. Casey, I felt so bad for Renelle last night. I didn't see the entire 3-hour long live stream. Renelle would never say such a thing. She's too kind and kind-hearted and nice and all of that. And she's a Christian lady. She would not say that. So our troll is making things up again, obviously. So this morning, what was the motive? She just wanted to throw shade at Renelle because Renelle's been talking about her. I'm sure that's what her motive was for saying those things. And the message I'm about to give her, everyone very upset. And Renelle got very upset, and it happens. It happens. She's trying to make fetch happen. So after the morning I've had, one of the things I did was I hit up my Magic 8 Ball and said, Magic 8 Ball, she listened to this? And it says, cannot predict now, which probably means no with her. Will she take it in and actually make the changes? Most unlikely. So there you have it. So I'm probably just, oh my goodness, Meerkat. Yes, I have this thing. I bought it because I got so tired of people on Facebook, Twitter, this thing on YouTube saying that they knew things for sure that were going to happen and stuff. I got tired of the tarot card readers. I got tired of the people who claim that they are psychic, all of that, and just said, I'm getting one of these suckers and I'm going to consult it for everything. Stupid. You have a Magic 8 Ball, they're fun. So that's my weirdness because KJ invented fetch, and she's tried. She finally quit showing up on my page. Yeah, well, I am about to block everything KJ related to. Listen to the morning I've had. Besides listening to very old music, I was listening earlier to some stuff from 1976, and it brought back a lot of memories. One of the things they were showing was the Sex Pistols. I actually saw them play. I know I'm one of the weird few people in the States, but I lived in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at the time. I was going to LSU, and they showed up at a local bar. I can't even think of the name of the bar now, but it was a big one, and they had pretty good sized bands. They showed up, and it was just chaos. Nobody knew what to make of them. So, hey, Liz. Hey, Karma Kid. Y'all, Nana's that group. I still have my magic 8 ball that my granny bought me when I was in elementary school. Oh, my goodness. What a blessing. Did she resolve the lawsuit with the dancer girl? No, I don't think so. I think 7M is going all the way. And I think Todd Chrisley is, even though I'm hearing people saying that there's been a settlement between KJ and Todd Chrisley. I don't think so. I don't think so. Yes, Lenadra, not watching KJ is good. I don't watch her, but I see the damage she's doing. So I get up this morning, and speaking of music, okay. When I was a teenager, I loved a band called Mott the Hoople. Mott the Hoople was it. I wanted to have Pete over in Watt's Baby. That's how badly I loved Mott the Hoople, and I loved Pete. Well, one of the nice things about Facebook is I now know all the guys in the band pretty well. And I told my husband like 10 years ago, the year they all wished me happy birthday was like the best birthday present ever. So I loved this group, and I loved every permutation of them as they broke up and went back together again. I loved Mott. I got to meet the lead singer Nigel when I was 15 and he was 21. There was no romance between us, but we've been in contact off and on since, until Nigel died 2 years ago. And he used to call me every Sunday night, and we'd talk for a long time. Another member has died. So I got up this morning to find out that not only has Ray died, but Ray's partner died. I was really shocked at that because I absolutely adored her. She was another musician, somebody that was, she was just wonderful. Her name was Sandy Dillon. Sandy and I talked a fair amount. Sandy had invited me to come to London and have tea with her and Ray at some point. And I'd actually been planning that. Well, her and Ray died within days of each other. I knew Ray had had cancer off and on for a long time, so I wasn't entirely surprised. I was blown out of the water by her death because I had no idea anything was wrong with her at all. And her and Ray had one of those relationships where they were super tight with each other. It was one of those great loves. So what is going through my mind today when I'm seeing KJ and I'm seeing Renelle, I'm seeing all of this, I'm seeing this continuing Marvon McRae drama. I'm seeing people coming into my comments to tell me I've misspelled McRae. I'm seeing petty BS going on everywhere. So guess what I'm thinking about all of this petty BS and KJ? Just guess. I am thinking it doesn't matter a hill of beans. So here I want to address KJ directly, talking about this hill of beans. You're KJ. You're wasting your life. You are wasting precious time. You're wasting resources. You're letting all these people sue you because you can't even keep your mouth shut. And the people who are going to pay the price for all of this is your family. Your family are the only ones that matter. They're the only relationship that matters is your family, not all of this, not the internet, not what anybody here thinks, not your so-called haters who just want to see you do better. The last name was spelled the same as Steve. Yeah, I've seen it spelled a bunch of different ways. That's why I just went with what I knew. So she'll regret it one day if she doesn't heed, and I'm sure she won't. These are the things in life that are important. I want to encourage you guys today to hug your people and tell them that you love them, because we may not have unlimited days. Sandy and Ray shook me up because Ray is the same age as my husband, and Sandy he would have died within days of Ray, but it happened. It happened. So all of this is just background noise. All of it. Life is too short. You're right. Life is too short for petty BS. It just is. There are so many other more important things to talk about in life, and we should really be helping each other. I mean, that's what I really wanted to talk about today was about, I issued a thing against KJ the other day. I said, oh, I hope this happens. This is what I'm praying for happen. But I want to pull that back even. I don't care about any of that. I just want her to go out and touch the grass, get out of the house, enjoy the sun, the air, life. I went swimming this morning for the first time. Together. We were talking about Ray and Sandy because, like I said, we did plan on having tea with them when we were going through Europe, which we've tentatively have a Europe trip planned next summer. Not going to happen now, sadly enough. I would have loved that. I would have absolutely loved that. When Nigel died, he kept telling me right before he died that he wasn't really mad at the guys in the band because they had a terrible split when they left, and he fought with them, and he had nothing to do with any of them. And he told me he wasn't really mad at any of them anymore, but he didn't know how to find his way back home. And that was one of the things that I shared with the other guys in the band who were still alive. I said, Ray didn't hate you. I'm not Ray. Nigel didn't hate you guys. Nigel didn't hate you guys at all. He loved you in his own weird little way. It's good to have Ellie pits from showering and then exercising in shower. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, touch the grass, the lawn type, not the grass type out there. So I'm going to be thinking about these guys, and I'm going to pray for the people who were left behind, because Ray left a pile of kids who were just getting ready to know their father again after many years of estrangement. It is just, there are so many hurting, broken people in this world, and so many just really horrible situations. I can't understand how KJ can't see that. I don't know how you can be that cruel on every level and talk about all these people. Many hurt people. Absolutely Bermuda's triangulation. So many hurt people going on out there. And it just blows my mind how many there are and how cruel some are to them. I think for me, that has been, and I need to clear something up. I had some people tell me yesterday after just last stream that you're blaming Letitia. I did not blame Letitia Bias at all. I don't think she was scamming anybody out of any money. I can see that she's not a very internet savvy woman. And she needed help to have the money to get to out west to see her son. I have no problem with that. Just like I have no problem with Molly Golightly giving her some money and saying, go to steak dinner, go get your nails done. Because even in the midst of these especially in the midst of these really hard times, there's nothing wrong with offering somebody the money to have a treat like that. I feel like she lacks empathy, or she suppresses it for the sake of $1. I think she lacks it. I think that's what it is. I think there's something broken in here. There's something broken inside of her, deeply broken and scarred. And that's on her to do the hard steps to fix it. But the first thing you have to do, you have to realize something is going on within yourself. You have to be able to say, yes, this happened. Yes, I need help healing from this, and consult the right kind of therapist. That is essential. That is one thing I wrote a chapter in my book about. When you're coming out of that kind of a church, the right kind of therapist can help you. But if you hit the wrong one, you hit a Christian therapist that's wrong, will set you back tremendously. It's a really hard thing to do. I did see that the night before last, someone requested 2,000 back for praying for Marvon. How sick is that? That is very sick. That is sick and twisted that somebody would do that. She can't stand another mother is getting attention and help. But if you give KJ sympathy or empathy, she goes after people harder, which is why I'm not doing that. Even though I suspect she's deeply broken by something that happened to her. Only KJ can fix KJ. The power for that is within her. None of the rest of us can. But she has to at first admit that things aren't right. And I don't foresee her ever doing that. Stems from her childhood. Erica, I'm convinced of it. I am convinced that that is something went wrong in her childhood. And she wouldn't be the first to have that go wrong. Like I've said about my own childhood. My own childhood was super screwed up. I had a mother who was kind of checked out in every way, shape, and form. And there have been some scars I've had to get over with. She has to be held accountable for her behavior presently, just like everyone else, no matter what happened. Absolutely. Oh, Erica, everybody's well. It's just a friend that his wife died. Actually, the wife was the friend. The husband I had didn't really have a friendship with at all. I had a also Christian therapist that helped me through PTSD, childhood trauma. And when husband had his stroke in 2020, I had the tools to make it through the awful first days. They just said she's gone to therapy. I don't think she did enough. May have been the wrong therapist too, because wrong therapists happen. I've talked about that before in my book and also in just everyday life here. We had a therapist my husband was going to that asked to see me. It was a Christian therapist. And I got there and he blamed me for everything, for my husband's depression, which turned out to be a tumor, not a real depression. Once they cut the tumor out, the depression fled. His idea was I was not submissive enough, and that was driving the depression. And I was rather submissive in those days compared to now. But I have to admit, I told my husband, I said, get up, we're leaving this jackass now. And so I took control because he was hurting my husband. He really was. There was a lot of things that my husband was coming back and telling me, and I was like, yeah, this guy sounds like a douche waffle. Yeah, she does need to be held accountable. You can't go around being ugly to people because of your childhood or any other reason. You're absolutely right. You have no right to create drama with other people, to harm others. I'm wondering how much KJ is paying the ones that are still there, because I definitely couldn't unless someone was giving me some good money. I don't know. I'm thinking that the reappearance of Unirock, he may be getting paid. There was something that her husband said the last time Uni turned on them about paying Uni and how he turned on them. A connection with a therapist is important. Truth needs to surface. Usually does it if you don't feel safe. Exactly. If you're not feeling safe, and if you don't have a bond with your therapist, you should feel like you're in it together and you're working towards that. Oh, thank you, Erica. Oh, from Flint. My husband's from Michigan. He's from East Lansing, so he goes there on a regular. I did, J. Marie, and I read the comments, and I was not surprised. These are stories I'm hearing all the time from everyone about how hurtful that she's been to them. It is just like a mountain of hurt that this lady has created or is perpetuated by her behaviors. Needs to be held accountable. Needs. Michigan State, baby. Yeah. Yep. She does need to be held accountable. That's the sad thing. It's if she were just sharing hateful views and people weren't being hurt by it, that would be one thing. But at least with the Marvon McRae situation, it exposes exactly, hey, Shug, it exposes exactly who is hurt and what the hurt looks like. That is created by these kinds of speculations. Worked out of Detroit for the Census Bureau. Oh yeah, Mima. That's I haven't been to Detroit in ages. The last time I went, we were driving through, and I was just taking pictures, just like jaw drop, because it reminded me of post Katrina New Orleans. There were so many abandoned houses and things. It's just nuts there. I hope Michigan overcomes all of that. I hope that's my hope and prayer for the nation. My husband and I were talking about that earlier because the car situation. I mean, we're in Costa Rica. We expect to have to buy the model they have there, the color they have, and pay sticker price because that's how it works here. We don't expect to have to do that in the States, and things are just haywire. I think the most compassionate thing people can do is to hold KJ accountable to the same standards as everyone else. That's the best way to motivate a cluster B. Detroit is like Flint. NGM close and went down in the water. Erica, I keep hearing about that so much. And like I said, when we've been up there for vacation, because he loves to go back, it's been eye-opening, some of the things I've seen in Michigan. There are some really prosperous areas, and then there's some areas where it's unbelievable. And you're just going, this is America? Well, you expect to have safe water. You expect to have maintained streets and things. I mean, we pay our taxes for that. We expect to have those things. Except here, the streets here are kind of an iffy situation all the time. Potholes are a huge problem here. They never fix them. But the minute you try to confront KJ, even with love, she becomes a victim. It's never her problem. Amy Farrell, that's exactly right. And that is it's true. You have to be really careful what you say to her and how you say it. I'm sure that she's going to say that I'm threatening her on this live stream. There is no threat here. There is just a distinct warning that one day she's going to be held accountable, if nothing else, by that son of hers. One thing I know about children, if you ignore them from 1 to 5, they make you pay hell to pay from like 16 to 21. It never works out well. It never works out well. Washing your hair with bottled water. Oh, trying to catch up at double speed. I love Mott the Hoople. Saw them open for Aerosmith in the 70s. Me too, Sarah. Oh, they booed. Oh my goodness, not New Orleans. We love them. The latest storm herself has at least shown more people how much of a horrible human she is. Exactly. That's the one good thing. The one good thing. Yeah, so she's going to do the cornholio and say that I threatened her by giving her a distinct warning. No one threatened her. Absolutely. I did see parts of Renelle's live last night. Like I said, I'm dealing with this stupid virus still. So I'm still not at 100%, but I saw some of it. And I was just heartbroken. Renelle is such a nice lady. She's a way better Christian than I am. I can tell you, because I still sometimes get these things. The internet has plenty of video clips of her being a horrible human. Yeah. The other night in one of Renelle's live streams, I said something really horrible. I said that I hoped that the Lord would dump coals on her head, which is something that we used to say in my old church when you would want to pray for somebody that you secretly hated, that you thought they were doing wrong. Dump coals on their heads. It comes from a scripture that talks about doing that to your enemy. And why is her hate so very strong? I don't understand it. I don't either. I don't understand. From Psalms, that's exactly right. Better to kill them with kindness than to dump coals on their heads. because what you're doing, and one thing I have learned that's pretty true with karma, Christianity, whatever, is when you tell somebody, "Hey, do this to so and so," you're actually giving the universe permission to do it to you. So she's doing that by a lot of her words, a lot of things she's saying that she thinks people should be held accountable for, or this or that, or the other things happening. She is telling the universe that it's okay to do the same thing to her. I am waiting for Cece Suarez to do her video. I have a feeling it's going to be a deep dive, and we're going to see the thing that KJ does to everybody else done to her. The amount of posts and emails sent back to Cece Suarez in such a short time frame was astounding. I believe Cece Suarez said 3 emails within 10 minutes, and she posted on Facebook about her too. Well, Sid Bay, that could be. I can't wait. I think something has happened to her in her childhood, undoubtedly. And somebody earlier said she was bullied in high school. Hell, some of us were. I know I definitely was. I was always kind of a brain in school and sat in the front row and sucked up to the teacher and got called teacher's pet and bullied a fair amount myself. Pretends to be a journalist writing about fundies, and she doesn't even know what their text says. No, she doesn't. That's what's so incredibly horrible about her stealing my content and then completely mangling it. If my mother seen my ass doing this on YouTube, she would give me a good old-fashioned ass whooping. My mother wouldn't do that, but we would have a conversation. It wouldn't be fun or pretty. That child is manic. I've already warned Cece that all of her info, financials, and taxes, and everything will be posted by KJ. That's true. And like I've said before, I think the only reason she hasn't done it to me is there's nothing to find other than my pile of parking tickets. When I started fighting my little southern town over downtown parking, I was working downtown, and every time I turned around, I was getting a parking ticket. And $2 a ticket, that's not much, but if you get 100 of them, that adds up. There was no decent parking, and all of us that worked there were having a crazy time of it. A crazy time of it. Fernando, I was bullied in high school too, and I didn't turn out like that. Cece has said she has nothing to hide, so she wasn't worried about it. That is awesome, J. Marie. And I actually talked about the one and only time I got arrested and the charges were dropped. And I know that that's like the only other thing she could have found. And it was so stupid. I've talked about this before. I was married to my first husband, who I was married to very briefly because he was kind of an asshole. And he also was rather abusive. He was a musician. I was involved in the music scene in Louisiana for a while and lost my taste for it immediately. One of the things that happened is we went out to this place called Thunderbird Beach to talk to the owner about playing music there. And we spent the day hanging around there. It was an artificial beach near Baton Rouge. And what happened was, on the way back, the guy in the band that we brought with us, my ex-husband and I, started playing mailbox baseball. He started playing mailbox baseball, and I kept saying, "This is the stupidest thing of all time. You need to stop doing this." So we got pulled over and arrested, all 3 of us, brought into the station house. The guys said nothing. The cops got to me and said, "Well, what do you have to say for yourself?" And I basically said, what I have to say for myself is I have nothing to do with that went on. I told those idiots they were being idiots. So because I snitched, snitches get bitches, bitches get snitches, snitches get bitches. They dropped the charges against me. I decided to dear my comment. You moved on from Renelle Live. We can circle back to it. Thunderbird Beach, it's reopened a few years. They reopened that? I thought they had built a subdivision on that property, I'd been told, around it. I don't know. I haven't been back to that part of Baton Rouge in ages. I try to stay out of South Louisiana because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to resume my old life I had there at all. So just one of those things. We could pray for a shaking for KJ. I truly feel she needs prayer. We could. We could even pray for a hedge around her of protection, even, or a hedge um, of thorns, so that she can't move forward until she deals with what she's got, which isn't being mean. I think Cece's husband was a cop at that. So I definitely can't wait for a deep dive. I feel like Cece is KJ's karma. That could well be. Oh, Shug, you're from Louisiana too? Represent. Oh, I really want to go to NOLA, if only for the music. Yeah, the music is awesome. They may have closed it again because a couple of years ago they had a couple of deaths one Sunday. Ooh, wow. I'm not real surprised because I remember even in its heyday, they did not have what I would call a great squad of lifeguards. Oh, Cece is smoking, so I'm waiting for her to be karma. But in the meantime, we can pray for KJ. We can pray that she has an awakening, that she has a road to Damascus moment. We can pray that she doesn't succeed in any more of the stuff she's trying to do. We can pray that a hedge of protection around her until she changes. We can pray that she's surrounded by a hedge of thorns, that she can't move forward until she deals with what she's done in the past. Shreveport, Bossier City. Okay, I'm familiar with that area too. I've also played music in Sportsman's Paradise in Coushatta, Louisiana. So I used to be all up and down. Those, all that crap. But all the people she hurt in the meantime, it's still so wrong. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. To pray for healing for all those people. Nana, I know where you are. You're where I lived for some years, where my father actually moved eventually. She does need prayers. Hedge of protection, blood of Jesus, anointing oil, holy water, and exorcism. Jackie, it all sounds good to me. Your sister lived in Hammond and Slidell. J. Marie, my family is from Ponchatoula, which is next door to Hammond. So I'm really familiar with Hammond too. And there's some really great restaurants in that area too. Every time I go to Hammond, I have to hit Tupelo and have crawfish stuffed chicken breast. Oh my word. It's sad that we all have to wake up wondering how much more damage she's done. Your sister's in Marpaw. I also had relatives in a place that doesn't even exist anymore as far as a community. Bayou Manchac number. Xanax and DBT. I don't know. I think that she needs more therapy than she needs drugs now. Therapy to deal with what she's done and to see what she's done and what the anyone in Renelle's live. Yeah, I was in there for a while before I got kicked out. Kimberly, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better, but this is one of those stupid little pesky viruses, not the virus, that doesn't want to lift. So I'm barely eating. I wonder if KJ gets kicked off YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. She'll go to Rumble, Truth Social, Parlor. She might. That's always a possibility. Yeah, Bayou Manchac is still there, but they don't have a post office or a community there like they used to, was my understanding. I haven't been through that area in ages, much less drugs, and alcohol. Yeah. I kept getting kicked off because my internet in Costa Rica. One of the problems with Costa Rica, and I like to talk about this because Costa Rica is a second world country now trying to become a first world country, but they got some third world things they have to overcome. One of the things we have problems with here is surges in the electrical system or dropouts. And when that happens and you're in here with me, I will disappear like that. There's nothing I can do about it. I have surge protectors on everything here. We had a new unit installed, air conditioning installed in the cabina yesterday in our guest house. And that's the thing that the guy didn't bring with him. He says he's going to bring back on Friday is a surge protector for the unit because we don't have super steady electricity here. In fact, Tamarindo didn't get electricity until 1977. I loved Renelle's live. It was heartbreaking to hear KJ's lives about Renelle and hearing someone calling her ghetto of all things. Well, she is kind of ghetto. It's no, she doesn't do that. She doesn't kick me out. It's my electricity here kicks me out. If I'm doing something, if I'm watching somebody's live and the power flickers, my router resets itself and I lose internet and I get out of where I am. And I had a lot of problems with it last night because we were having a pretty tense storm that rolled through here yesterday. Then I was kind of annoyed because I was trying to work on my book, doing some editing, and I was listening to Renelle at the same time. But because it was thundering and lightning and all that, and I knew it was coming because yesterday afternoon, my husband and I had gone out to run errands and we saw the dark clouds coming. You were in Renelle's live stream. I feel like KJ was there under a sock account. Kimberly Ann, I'm sure she was. She says she doesn't do that. But let me tell you something. I know she does because there have been times when you discuss something in a live stream, only in that one live stream, and she addresses it. So I know she's watching. Shug, I did not know that. That is horrible. Fernando, we have one of those uninterrupted power supplies for my husband's computer. I just need to break down and buy one. I just haven't done it. But I hope we're fixing to have a horrible storm come through here in a bit. This time of year, it's every afternoon. Nana, that's what we have here. We have the hot storms here every afternoon during rainy season, and we're in the middle of rainy season. And I know it's like that in Louisiana because I lived through that as a kid and a young adult. She does well, Fernando. I have a theory about that. I have a theory about that. Knowing her now as well as I do, KJ, I'm talking about, not Renelle. I've noticed that you can say something or you can write something out, and she will interpret it completely differently every time. I think that there's something in here that's not quite right. Whether it's, and Steve McRae and I have talked about, we both agree with this, that there's something that's not right here that's interpreting things. I gave an example the other day of a couple people standing on a porch and a bear walking up and somebody saying, look, there's a black bear. And KJ hearing something like, look, that black bear is coming to kick your ass, or maybe that black bear has molested somebody. She's hearing something completely different. It's like she's got antennae that are tuned to something entirely different that's not going on the planet. She had two post screenshots were live and circled my comment and the Sherry Bancroft comment. So I didn't see that either. That is terrible that somebody said that about Renelle. Last night in Twitter, some people started saying crap about Renelle and saying, oh, she's too sensitive, she's too this, she's having a tantrum. No. We don't say that about Renelle. Renelle is one of the most level-headed, kindest people I've ever come across in the community, and we do not diss her and defame her like that. It just is not a fair comparison at all. Yeah, somebody said that to Llama Girl. They said some other things. And this is just not right. KJ also left up the Far Baby comment pretending Tar Baby. She did. And the thing is, I did a thing on that the other day because it horrified me, first of all, that that was used, because that's one of those terms that should be buried back behind the bar. Nobody should use, even if the way the person meant it was not probably in a racist way, because it used to be used for any sticky situation. It used to be part of the vernacular, but it's so out of use because it's also used to harm Black people that it's just one of those things we don't say anymore. We really can't say those things anymore, even when we don't mean them in that manner. Even if it comes out of the 1880s in a book, Uncle Remus's Tales, that got made into a Disney movie that was full of racism that even the Disney company has scrubbed off of everything. They no longer release it. Renelle is not ghetto. She's classy and fun and a beautiful mother with a contagious smile and laugh. She's probably one of the nicest people. And she is a straight shooter. She'll come right out and say it. And I just am astounded and appalled that anybody would call her ghetto. And, when people call somebody of color that, it is really, really, really super offensive. It is another type of veiled racism still. It is. Renelle is a mom. I hope I am the friend I never had. She's the best. Yes, exactly. I can't say that I was as good of a mother as Renelle, because I know that I fell down on the job sometimes, but I didn't have a decent mother. I didn't know what I was doing. I was making it up as I went along. Hey, Rena Roo, super late in joining. Okay. She's not ghetto at all. She's nice and she's classy. KJ pissed me off when she said that shit about Charlotte. That broke my heart. Charlotte and her have had a love-hate relationship from the beginning. Charlotte didn't build her channel on the anti-KJ stuff. That's true, but a lot of people did. And I know I've been guilty of it at times myself. It is just KJ figured out and uses KJ's words against her. I bet that chaps her ass. Of course it does. Of course it does. And here's the thing. Charlotte has really changed a lot. She is doing way different than she used to do. I found it very admirable, Renelle, to put her personal feelings aside for the concern of the bruises on KJ, but KJ can't appreciate that and flipped it around. I know that. And I didn't speak about the bruises at all. And I wanted to so badly, because if you know anything about me, you know that at one point when my husband was in the U.S. military, I used to go in and do investigations of suspected spousal abuse with the military where we were. And I saw a whole lot of black eyes and bruises and things. And I don't know. I'm not saying that the bruises came from abuse. They could maybe not have. There might be a logical explanation. Maybe she lost her balance and somebody grabbed her by her arms. I don't know. You don't know. We just don't know. But I say the more people and channels that color out, the better. Well, and it's kind of difficult not to. I keep saying I never want to talk about her a bit again. And I really don't. Right now, it's like I'm sick to my stomach and I'm having to talk about this woman yet again. Oh my gosh. Lots of channels are talking every day now. She even has an entire Reddit dedicated to her. I know that, Java man. And she has new people that come in all the time that just go from liking to disliking her. And we just have to open our arms and say, welcome, folks. Just don't go real life and don't make up stuff about her, because you're not helping anything. But welcome. Let's give you your t-shirt. We're the people that your parents warned you about. And have some Kool-Aid. I mean, it is just crazy. Because she filed against Todd Chrisley, emotional distress, and is digging into other careers, I think she's going to use those to say all the bullying caused her try harming herself. She's methodical. Suspicious? Absolutely. That's what I think is going to happen. Oh yeah, triple DV rates compared to non-military towns. Absolutely. Renelle was a police officer. It didn't surprise me she'd be concerned about a woman or a man with bruises on them. She never said anyone abuses KJ. It is, but it's where your mind goes when you see those things. And you've had some kind of experience in that. Your mind does go there. Do you know they changed the Oompa Loompas in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory to not be racist in the 1970s? Oompa Loompas used to be an African tribe. I remember that from the book, and I laughed over that. And then the second movie, they changed them even more. Um, yeah, I saw that too, Fernando. I saw that the motion against the countersuit showed she had no weight to her emotional distress claims. Does anybody remember how angry she got when she threatened suicide? And then when her concerned followers actually called law enforcement in her area and said, hey, she's made this threat. We're afraid for her. Can you please go check on her? She became irate and tried to say it was trolls. No, that was not trolls. That girl, that was your own people who heard you say that you were thinking about harming yourself. Right. That's why I think she is fabricating evidence. She's claiming it was from typing. Let me tell you something. I have had to have carpal tunnel surgery on both hands. Okay. When I had it here, I had to have it on my elbow and they had to cut into my shoulder. I had carpal tunnel for my years of working so badly that I had to have surgery here, here, and here on my right hand. And saying with my left, but left was just a hand. But here's the thing, you don't walk away with bruises around your wrists like that, and you don't get them from typing. Maybe if you're banging your hands on rocks in front of your keyboard, you might. Wasn't that another SWAT? She talked about it. She talked about that being a SWAT. I don't think any of the things that have happened to her have actually been SWATs. I worked 12 hours a day in customer service and never got a single bruise on my keyboard. I played piano, have arthritis, carpal tunnel, never a bruise. Exactly, says Vicious. I played piano and all that too, and crochet, and I do a lot of hand intensive things. I just retook up, what do you call that when you got the cords and you're making knots? Oh, I'm having a brain fart where it's not crocheting, it's knotting things together. I started doing that again. Macrame. That's what happened during the Tati West lawsuit. And here's the thing I'm worried about, Nana, for this lawsuit, because like the Tati, we saw some bad actors, not just Unicorn Nat, but one of her own mods give these long depositions that were fake, that were completely fake. They turned around and repudiated everything they'd said to Mr. Saltz. There was some effery going on, and I'm afraid with the new lawsuits, there'll be even more effery. That's what I'm afraid will happen here with this. We saw a horrible attorney on KJ's side. Well, I think she probably has one that's not real great now. I got one of those emails too, ordering me to turn over my correspondence with Steve McRae, which I have no problem doing if they show up with a court order. I'll do it. But I think they're going to find it dull. I mean, not everything is KJ and not everything is some kind of weird thing that we're talking about. We're not plotting to get her. Some of it's out and about and been posted. Her getting sued by all of these beautiful people proves KJ is jealous of anyone more beautiful and successful than her. Absolutely. Her estate attorney. Yeah, he's not a very, I think she should get her money back, whatever she's paying him, because and the thing she's threatening her is so utterly ridiculous. Like I said, if I'm ordered to turn over my correspondence, I will. They're going to laugh and be bored shitless because there's nothing said in there that I haven't already said out here. Steve and I were not ever plotting to take her down, not at all. There's a whole lot of what's going on here where we're saying, there's some of that we're saying, can you believe what that stupid gal did or said? There's a lot of that. And there was some talk early on when we were talking about whether he would take a non-disclosure agreement just to settle that stupid restraining order thing. But most of the time, we're not talking about her at all. Her copy pasta emails are hilarious. They have no legal weight, absolutely no legal weight. None at all. She keeps saying that she had a case against Tati when Tati never uttered her name. I'm going to call Tati out as the classiest broad I've ever laid eyes on. I like her. I mean, every time I lay eyes on her, I'm first of all, I'm like, wow, she is so beautiful. Even if she is posting while she's unpacking and has no makeup on. I'm just blown away by how beautiful she is. And she did something that KJ is not capable of. She shut her mouth. The minute she filed against KJ, zipped those lips, and she did not come on YouTube. She didn't reference KJ in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. She just started living her best life, and didn't come back on any social media until the lawsuit was settled. Class act. Class act. But here's the thing that blows my mind. Nana, I think the same thing. I think Clark Swanson is lurking in the background, and whatever shakes down with Tati, he's going to become rolling up like a juggernaut, and it won't be pretty. She keeps saying it was proven there was no defamation. So Tati's husband MD'd his mother. The husband was a career criminal. It's BS. Yes, she settled the lawsuit. They came to a settlement. That means that she didn't admit guilt or innocence. And they agreed that she would turn over the information because likely if it went to court, Tati would win. That is the only reason you would settle in something like that and cough up Swanson's name. So all of her lies about it not being that she wasn't guilty are just that, lies. Just saying hi. Video is my reward for adulting. Oh, Palm Springs is such a lovely place. I love it. It's one of those places I want to visit again. Did see this till now. What did you? Oh, this. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've been saying ever since Swanson asked the court to see the settlement between KJ and Tati. Of course, you know. Hey, Elwood, you know that he is going to come after her at some point. I think he's busy with the various lawsuits of Tati and the company. I don't know what happened there. I don't want to speculate on which one of them is wrong or right. I don't have enough information on that. Let's ask the Magic 8 Ball. Do you think that Clark Swanson is Clark Swanson done with KJ? Yes. Okay, I don't believe this. I think you're cracked. Because I still think he's going to come after her at some point. Better late than never. Yeah. So I have Pride in Palm Springs on bucket list. Oh, yeah. Same here. Pride in New Orleans is a lot of fun, too. Pride in New Orleans. So she would deserve it. Yes, she would. When somebody tells you something, and I kept telling her this when we were riding together, tells you something about the Duggars, whomever, you have to really scrutinize whether you can confirm that or not. And if you can get confirmation from somebody else or another source, then you run with it. What she's done is run with every Duggar rumor I ever shared with her and use all of my content over and over again. So that's where my major bone to pick with her is. You don't do that. So we'll see. Like I said, somebody's running around saying that Todd Chrisley settled with her. I don't think so. She extrapolates. Oh my God, she extrapolates the craziest. You could tell her, it's like the game of telephone. You remember when we were kids and you play telephone, you whisper in someone's ear and then they whisper in the next person, the next person. And when that happens, you can get things very, very wrong. She called herself a journalist, but has no standards or ethics. I am going to tell again the story of how she became a journalist in her own mind. Pathos told us all to rebrand ourselves. They wanted no one to refer to themselves as a blogger any longer. And people came up with all kinds of names themselves. I called myself a daily columnist because I was. And I know people who said they were opinion writers or whatever. She decided that that meant she could call herself a journalist and it was right. And I just was like, I made fun of her. I mocked her for it a little bit. And then I went, oh, holy cow, she's serious. Look how she went on for days saying Todd Chrisley and Seven would never sue her. Yes, she did. She runs with every rumor she hears about everyone. Exactly. KG would benefit greatly if she could understand and practice mindfulness. KG reacts and she reacts hardcore. Kimberly, that's what I'm seeing. She would meet the standards for a tabloid. She'd meet the standards for Weekly World News, I'm sure. I used to say when I was dreaming of a career in writing that my dream job would be writing for the Weekly World News because you could make up the most bizarre stories on the planet. Bat Boy. Aliens endorse Bill Clinton. These are real headlines at Weekly World News. And she would fit there. And I would be envious of her because that'd be my dream job. She's kind of like, yeah, it kind of is the best thing and the worst thing ever. The Duggars keep Bat Boy in their compound. Oh, my word. Don't say that one too loudly or she will be running with that one. She will be saying, do the Duggars have aliens in their compound? Since I've been on YouTube, she's called herself a T channel, commentary journalist blogger. She's really just commentary. She's not a journalist. She's not a reporter. You know, I can say at least I've written for a variety of places. My 10 years at Pathos are not the only place I've written at, and I'm still writing. I'm just writing under a euphemism now, several of them, because of the horrible nature of threats and political nature going on right now. I've been writing about Costa Rica and the pandemic for a British publication because there are a fair amount of Brits here and for a couple of Costa Rican publications. I believe she's still doing this after all. I can't believe she's still, Darth, I don't either. It's crazy. She is stuck and she has these different things she does. She's also said that her channel is not a T channel when T is in the intro. She started out saying she was a T channel, an international reporter. Was she reporting on anything overseas? Nope. You do not know how tempted I am to do a parody of her opening where it says stuff like always topical and always tropical, because I am always tropical. And so tempted, but I know she would consider that a hostile action. I don't know what she's going to do when I come out with the game cards for the game starring all her ridiculous actions. I don't doubt I will get a cease and desist, and I can't wait to color in the Steve's Magical Bean one, which is kind of the get out of jail card, because she kept telling so many different stories about him showing her his wang that I had to make that card number one. Well, the resistance movements against her span several countries. Oh, it most definitely does span other countries. International journals with awful grammar, spelling, writing, and capitalization. Notice how she will sometimes randomly capitalize words in the very middle of sentences. And I'm looking at it and going, my grammar skills aren't always the best. There's times when I stop and look stuff up so I know exactly how to word it or where to put the colon, all of that. I was shocked to hear her sweet little boy's almost 10. She's been doing this since he was a toddler. Shug, she's been doing this invading of communities and doing fundraising and stuff since he was born. I mean, so that part goes all the way back there. She started writing about his problems when he was a toddler, and I still to this day think that she missed an enormous opportunity by not continuing on with that and without doing videos on it. I haven't checked out how many videos there are about how to handle a living with a child with a chronic illness, but it's a small community. I'm guessing she could have done those videos and done really well. People need to know information, and if she's been dealing with a feeding tube all this time, she does have valuable information. I think we had the feeding tube discussion one time because for a very short period of time, my daughter had one. And I had a granddaughter that's had one. It just is what it is. And she could have done that. Hey, Sunflower. We've been talking about KJ because as I've been telling everybody here at the beginning of this, I lost 2 friends in like a span of 2 days. And I just found out this morning. They weren't super close friends. I was friends with them. The wife, the husband was somebody I admired and looked up to. And for me, it was the shocker that I needed to tell me to go out and touch the grass again and to not focus on this crap. So I was telling her, I was speaking directly to KJ and telling her she just needs to end all of this. She needs to spend time with her son and husband and know that your time on this planet can be very short. And if you're wasting it on stupid BS every single day, you're wasting everything. You will be sorry. Yeah, it was a hard loss for me. I know when I heard that they went within days of each other. At first I heard they went together and I was like, was it a car wreck or was it like a death and a suicide? Because I knew that Ray was deathly ill. He'd had cancer for years, but I didn't think his wife was. I thought his wife was in good health, but so it was a real shock to find out they died within days of each other. And they were really each other such a true love that you see sometimes with those when you're that bonded, when one dies, the other dies very shortly afterwards. I think Todd Chrisley's in so much legal trouble that KJ is at least of his worries. Warrior 69, I would normally say that, but I know that he wanted to really go after her after everything, and he said he was not going to settle. He said he was no settlement at all. So I don't know. Chrissy said he doesn't care if he's sitting in a jail cell, he will continue the lawsuit. Yes, he did say that. And she seems to think that him being declared guilty somehow makes her lawsuit go away, and it doesn't at all. You can sue anybody for anything from jail. It happens. People do it all the time. They don't have anything to do in jail but sue anyway, a lot of them. Oh, it was a huge shock, yes. A huge shock. Yes, life is short. Life is short, most definitely. And you'd think I would know that anyway after having 2 strokes and having to battle back from the other one. like I was saying earlier when I announced it about Ray and Gray and his wife, I said that I'd gone outside and gone swimming first thing this morning and had coffee in the pool with my husband. And we had a long conversation because of all of this. So I'm hoping that by vomiting all of this up, I can move back onto my content again. And if I only have 10 people watching, that's all well and good. It is what it is, what it is. And I would, oh my goodness, there's a butterfly caught in the web out there. I'm going to have to remove them. It just is what it is. We're not going to change her. The best thing we can do is pray for her and keep a log of what she's up to. Coded language is what I was originally going to talk about. Coded language is tomorrow, because I started thinking about that after I popped off with that Fundy Town BS in Renelle's the other day and said that I prayed God would dump hot coals on her head, burning coals. That is something we used to say, and then I thought about it later, and I was like, no, I'm not going to say that. That's bad. I bet he told his lawyers to just file everything you can. Haha, I'm sure. Oh, Shug, that's one thing I absolutely adore here. I see so many wonderful butterflies. When I came back from my month-long stay in the States, our big mango tree had dropped all of its mangoes all at once, and the whole yard smelled like a brewery. Well, we were making vino, and the best thing about it was all those dropped mangoes was a field of butterflies in my yard. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. It was incredible. Yeah. Sunflower, you have to sometimes, because she is so toxic. She is so incredibly toxic, everything she touches. And I don't want that for her, because I used to actually like her, not love her. I was going to say love, but I never loved her. I was friends with her. I felt sorry for her because she would tell me about her son. And when he had open heart surgery, she and I talked on Messenger a lot that day, and I could tell how bad it was. It was awful. My feelings that imprecatory prayer are the ones that should not be answered. Java Man, my old pastor at my old toxic church used to say, be very careful about the prayers you pray and the words of knowledge you get for people that you're angry at. And he's very right about that, because you can stray into some very weird stuff. Very, very weird. Sunflower, you're absolutely right. And that's something that's hard to do. For me, it is. And that's one reason I had to step back from NLQ, and I've had to step back from actually talking to a lot of people who are trying to recover. I wish them well. I just don't have the psychic energy for it any longer after the last stroke. The last stroke did me up and did me some badness, and I still have trouble walking. And it's frustrating because I feel like I haven't improved much of any since the stroke 15 months ago. But my doctor keeps telling me how I'm doing so great. And I saw a pharmacist I'd seen right after the stroke, and he said, I can't believe how great you bounced back from this. And I'm like, did I? So there is that. Darth, it has been cathartic, and it has also been painful. I've had to dredge up memories, and not just dredge up memories. I have had to take some step back every now and then. And my husband has had to prompt me on things. Like, I didn't even remember the thing that happened. Oh, thank you, Shug. I didn't even remember the thing that happened with these ladies that used to play with angels. I remembered that one of them slept with the other one's husband and what went down when that happened. But I didn't remember what they were doing at our home Bible study at all, where they were jumping around and saying, there's an angel, I'm playing with him. I didn't remember any of that. And my husband was like, I can't believe you didn't believe that. And I started thinking, well, didn't remember that because I saw it so frequently, it became just something that happened and I didn't think about it. So with the benefit of hindsight, 16 years being out, I'm looking back at this stuff and going, holy cow. How do they define playing? They were like jumping around, Java Man, jumping around with their hands in the air, going, clap my hands and playing patty cake and playing. It was all just really super weird stuff that I now look back at. I'm going, oh, what was that all about? But they both claimed they could see angels. That was their big thing. Oh, Darth Coffee, that is a good idea. That is a good idea. The 10 years I wrote for Pathos, I got a lot of that stuff out. But now that I'm having to actually cough up details, it's been, I used to see angels in spirit as a child frequently. Grace, I have certainly had my experiences with things like that too when I was a child. Did they have mushrooms? I don't know. But the most comical thing about the whole thing, looking back, was they were best friends. They went everywhere together. One of them talked crap about how horrible her husband was all the time, and the other one was divorced. But when push came to shove, the divorced one slept with the married one's husband that she kept throwing crap at. And it came out that her husband was a louse, but he was her louse. And the adulteree, the unmarried one that slept with her friend's husband, justified what she was doing. And it was pretty funny because every time I ran up on adultery in our old church, there was no, oh my God, I'm so sorry for what I did. It was like, well, I have every right to do that because X, Y, Z. And I was always amazed by that because that was a line I would not cross ever. I did it in therapy and she's encouraging me to do it. Yeah. Darth Coffee, I would do that. It is, it's very cathartic. And there are things that you can actually help others with. To me, that's the best part. And I'm trying to make my writings humorous. It's trying to do it in a humorous vein, which doesn't always work. And I'm trying to do it in such a way as this is a lesson you can take away from this. This will help you if you're struggling with this. Because there was so much condemnation and self-guilt in my old church that it could take you down if you left. I never underestimate the ability of humans to rationalize anything. Java Man, there were some rather bizarre justifications, strange ones. Oh, you kind of used me as an inspiration. Oh, well, I feel really honored that anybody would do that because sometimes I'm just here ranting and raving. But yeah, all the years I wrote for Pathos, and I think that's why I got so angry with Katie Joy, because she was taking my life's work and cheapening it by not understanding the basis of some of these things that happen, the basis of any of this, because there is a basis. And it's my own faith has changed so drastically since I left. Sounds like an outdated church, cherry picking what they practice. Sunflower, it got very bizarre at the end. We started following Bethel Redding. And once we started following Bethel Redding and the people are screaming about demons, it got weird. It got real weird in a hurry because before it was just a simple country church and most of the teachings were straight out of the Bible. And you're right, Bermudas, the pain is real. And the pain of leaving is awful because when you leave, you don't keep any of your circle, of your support circle, your friends, the people you think are ride and dies, you find out are not ride and dies. They won't even ride with you to the end of the parking lot. I only have one close friend from those times. And even then, there are times when her and I will butt heads. But did they play rock and roll music? Java Man, hell yeah, they did. And I sang rock and roll music there all the time, and rock and roll for Jesus. But here's the thing, I have never heard it called that until Katie Boy coughed it up and said, rock and roll church. No, we call it praise and worship. Contemporary praise and worship. That's the term. That's the correct term. Rock and roll. Is there a way to read some of your work for Pathos? Yes, there is. Pathos has all of my columns still up. No Longer Quivering was the name of the column. They have those up still. They have most of them. Even speaking in tongues freaks me out. Sunflower, there's so many things like that I have to explain in my book. I learned after writing the first couple of chapters that I need to explain and break down a lot of spiritual traditions for people who don't understand it. We used to do some fun things. I'm going to say we used to do some fun things, and I miss some of it. I miss the holy laughter. I miss the fire. Sat on the floor at 6 a.m. and had a spiritual tea party with the other ladies that had cleaned the church. We were just having the best time. Even though looking back, I'm kind of like, yeah, boy, I'm not sure if any of that was right, but it felt good at the time. It felt good. And it was a true sisterhood. It was not any of this, yeah, back and forth. And it wasn't like at my church where people prayer gossiped and there was all kinds of under the counter bitchery. We had some people that could have fit in the ABC television show GCB, and it was a book too, Good Christian Bitches. There was some of that going on at my old church. But I would go out to these conferences, these huge conferences all over, and have the best times. My best friend Joni and I would do that. We're still close friends, and she was moaning the other day that she doesn't have any close friends like we were. Yeah, that she didn't understand why we weren't able to make close friends like that any longer. And I told her my thoughts on that because all of my friends have come to me moaning about that recently, and there's some reasons for that. Ministers in Assemblies of God churches used to be required to be able to speak in tongues. Yep. I've been on a rabbit hole listening to documentaries about how fundamentalist these churches have gotten and how young people want no part of organized religion. That's very true. There's a lot of them. Yeah, it is, Darth Coffee. And we had a fair amount of Southern Baptists that joined our church. We were non-denominational. When I started going, it was myself and a bunch of backslidden Catholics. We were all running the joint. And then Southern Baptists showed up. People showed up from Assemblies of God. So everybody's bringing their traditions in. And then we have people following outside ministries. We had some people that were firmly in the Michael and Debbie Pearl camp. We had some that followed Doug Phillips and Vision Forum. Still others were friends of Bill Gothard, grabby hands, of the IBLP ATI. Yeah. That is one thing I wish I still had for reference material is my husband's Bill Gothard conference materials, because he had gone to a number of Bill Gothard conferences before I ever met him. That would have been nice. So that's the story of, I'm a recovering Southern Baptist who practices stoicism because it all makes me too anxious. Yep, that works too. All makes me think of grandma's church and makes me cringe. Jackie, I sometimes will listen to funny stuff. Humor is a way to overcome many things. That's why I'm trying to make my book humorous, because humor is a powerful thing, I think. And when I start getting frustrated with fundamentalist people. I'll listen to stuff like Ray Stevens, The Time That a Squirrel Went to Church, and things like that, because I like to laugh and have a good time. And laughter is an important thing, I think. And being able to laugh at things, the crazier things of life, is a cure for all. Yeah, you're right. It's a cure for all. It bonds people. It's an important thing. A very important thing. For a while, I was trying to do comedy videos where I was pretending to be a parody version of Lori Alexander. And I took those down because I realized pretty quickly I wasn't going to be able to keep pace. The first one was funny, where I said, I was answering a question on how to make your husband love you and what to use on your hair and body if it's too dry. And I came up with bacon grease. Laughter and gratitude. Yep. Yes, and then I'll go back and watch Love After Lockup or Stand Up Jackie. Yes. Yesterday, I started watching all the old episodes of The Surreal Life because I didn't get to see, but I think the last season. So I'm looking at some of these funny reality television shows again. I even loved Rock of Love. I watched that at one point. Whenever my son was in the hospital, we made jokes and made sure there was lots of laughter during a very trying time. Blind Monk, that's really one of the few things you can do. Bacon grease. Yeah, bacon grease makes you smell nice and makes your husband fall in love with you. So, and that was me picking at Lori Alexander because, no lie, Lori Alexander uses beef tallow, which is beef fat from cooking, on her skin. I have asthmatic dermatitis as part of my thing that I got going on with mast cell, and I can break out in crazy rashes. I use organic cocoa butter and coconut oil mixture, food grade coconut oil that's organic. But you could not pay me to rub beef fat on my skin. I saw Rock of Love, Tila Tequila, The Flavor of Love, all those. Flavor of Love was crazy. These are all things I went back and had to watch because I didn't get to see most of them when they were on TV because Funky Town, you weren't allowed to order things. But quite frequently, I used to sneak off and watch stuff I wasn't supposed to watch, movies and things. Flava Flav, and he and Brigitte kind of fell in love on The Surreal Life. That was kind of a strange combination between the two of them, but I liked them together. Coconut oil is the best thing ever. It really is. I use it on my hair. I use it on my skin because I can't use many commercially made products because I break out. Everything. I'm allergic to everything, which is kind of crazy. And so I will sing his praises too. Shrug, the pure joy and innocence of these little minds is just beautiful. And any heartache can be helped by hanging out with my sister's kids. The laughter is just lovely. Absolutely Sunflower. It really is. Bret Michaels was hot back in his day. He really was. So when my oldest child was a teenager, she was always drooling over Bret Michaels. And I was pretending not to. I was looking at him going, damn, he's hot. So there we go. Okay, you guys, it's been almost 90 minutes and I can feel myself fading. I was just so, and thank you for lifting my spirits. I'm smiling now. When I came on, I wasn't because all I could think about was Mr. and Mrs. Ray. And I'm probably going to cry a few tears over them, but at least Ray's not in pain any longer. He was in pain tremendously with his cancer and had wasted away to almost nothing. And the troll that shall not be named. Love you guys so much, especially on a day like today. Have a great day.